Just saw a video of a vegan doctor. If you are a vegan, you probably know him. No names. We're not bashing anyone on this channel. In general, he has good advice. But the one thing I don't understand is why do people, and especially scientists and doctors, choose to cherry pick and misinterpret studies, even if it's for a good cause? I don't want to say he's intentionally lying, would never claim that. Let me know in the comments why people do lie or twist the truth. Could it be for financial reason? I don't know. You tell me. Anyways, in his video, he was talking about how vegans have higher incidence of dementia, increased risk of stroke, and increased risk of Parkinson's disease. To prove his claim, he referenced the Adventist Health Study 2 and said that this population is a blue zone, and went on claiming that it's a healthier population with less confounding variables, that they don't smoke and drink, they exercise and eat healthy. And the reasons for this are potential risk factors, potential deficiencies in B12, zinc, EPA, and DHA. And also too much salt. But is all of that true though? To be honest, there were too many bold claims, just too many, that I had to make this video. But I will focus on the main statements I just mentioned. But first, okay, let's look at what the Adventist Health Study 2 actually says and if his claims are true. By the way, I already made a video on omega-3s and if it's an issue for vegans. We'll not go too deep into that again. Watch my video. Here, just gonna give you a broad overview. Okay, let's go. Fuck, where should I start? Okay, let's start with salt. Does salt cause dementia or even high blood pressure? Because that's one of his claims. So far, no study has clearly shown that salt alone causes dementia. It seems more likely that it plays a role within a network of risk factors: high blood pressure, vascular disease, kidney disease, lifestyle. When it comes to high blood pressure, there are studies, some reviews and meta-analysis show that reducing salt consumption lowers blood pressure on average, but the effect is often very small. Occurs especially in people with hypertension. Estimates suggest that about 30 to 50% of people are sensitive to salt, particularly older individuals, people with hypertension or chronic kidney disease. The problem is that in many of these studies, other factors were poorly accounted for, factors that have a much greater effect on blood pressure, such as obesity, lack of physical activity, potassium intake from fruits and vegetables, and sugar. And most of the time, salt and blood pressure problems were observed in people who already had health issues. On top of that, it's difficult to measure salt intake accurately. In studies, it's often based on self-reports, and even urine analysis is imprecise. Several large observational studies and meta-analyses report a J or U-shaped relationship between estimated sodium intake and cardiovascular mortality, all-cause mortality. Very low levels and very high levels are each associated with increased risk, while minimal risk in some analyses was found at around 3 to 5 grams sodium per day, which is 7.5 to 12.5 grams of table salt per day. So salt is super important. Too much is shit, too little is shit. Are there even studies that examine salt consumption in healthy populations with a perfect lifestyle? Nope. They just don't exist because there's no money to be made with such studies. But what does exist are findings from sports medicine on elite athletes. That gets us closer to the truth. In sports medicine, there are many studies on salt and electrolyte loss through sweating. In marathon runners triathletes or soccer players, losses can be 3 to 8 grams sodium chloride per liter of sweat. Studies show that too little salt in this setting leads to hyponatremia, drop in performance, even acute health risks. That's why sports doctors often recommend targeted sodium intake during long endurance exercise. In well-trained athletes with heavy sweat losses, high salt consumption is not associated with elevated blood pressure. Here, the balance between loss and intake is what matters. Now let's return to the main claim in the video. Do vegans have an increased risk of dementia, or does dementia occur more often in vegans with high salt intake? The answer is simple: nope. There's currently no solid scientific evidence showing that high salt intake in vegans specifically increases the risk of dementia. If you know of any such study, let me know. I'm always ready to learn. So, okay, if you want to be an average person, be overweight and lazy, live an unhealthy lifestyle with poor food choices, then sure, you should follow the standard recommendations. But in the end, that still won't protect you from all those diseases. We, however, want to optimize health and get the best out of ourselves. We want you to become a machine and the healthiest, best version of yourself. So implement a healthy, active lifestyle and don't worry about little things like salt. Even enjoy it because it simply makes everything taste better. I even sprinkle some on my food. Not just kidding, but I would. I can also tell you from years of working with clients, especially vegan individuals, every single human who followed my recommendations and guidance during coaching had zero problems with salt. Most of these people even have a high salt intake now, sometimes up to 10 to 15 grams per day. All of them eat perfectly vegan or predominantly plant-based with excellent planning. They're highly active, do a lot of sports, sleep perfectly, have found or consciously seek purpose in life, have family and community, spend a lot of time outdoors and in the sun, sweat a lot, go to sauna, and so on. What time is it? Oh shit, fuck. It's already too late. The video is already too long. That's why I've spontaneously decided to cover the statements about the Adventist Health Study 2 in part 2. And once again, I've expanded your mind and consciousness. Like, comment, and follow for more.